Hey.
Hey, welcome back.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Here we are. Episode 9. Thank you for tuning in, listening, for being here, for being alive.
For joining us,
God
lending us
bless.
those ears. And we're done.
Have a wonderful week, everybody. Let's just go right into the guest.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got a guest today. Very excited. 1 week late, but better late than never. Is that what they say?
You finally got a quote right.
Oh damn, dude. Not high enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's how it goes.
that still doesn't feel right. Anyways, we have Jacob.
What's
Jacob.
up?
Jacob.
What's up with the podcast?
So, it was like I don't know how we landed on having guests on or who we decide to.
Yeah.
One thing I can say is like I've known you maybe for like a year now, like kind of in passing. Like we work together and just kind of whatever.
Yeah.
You've always had I feel like a light energy to you, like kind of uplifting, like a very good energy, kind of flowing through life, and I've always like fed well off. Like I've always enjoyed people like that, in some sense. Like I've always felt that from you. Have you always felt that way? Do you feel that presence?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I kind of just ride the wave and float through life, and there's a positive in anything in my life, no matter how shitty things get. So, I think I've always just had that positive light where I just keep it shining, and if your light's dim, that sucks because my shit's bright. So.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Like, that's a good way to look at it too.
Super positive. Have you was that a learning point at some point in your life that like shit was dark or was
Do you
it
think
just
maybe it was like the way you were brought up?
No,
like,
yeah, definitely the way I was brought up. My
your
parents were
parents.
always super open and positive, and my other siblings are the same way.
Right on.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. I feel like a lot of people that they fight through that diversity. I don't know if that's the right word, but like they usually struggle through something. Then they find the light at the end of the tunnel. But you were kind of like born into that light, I guess, in a way.
Yeah.
Like that's
blessed.
That's awesome because
Definitely.
No, that's good.
because it's like something I've like maybe in the last year I've really kind of started discovering of being positive because there is no good or bad, there is only now, or there only is, so it's like might as well fucking let it shine, like ride that wave and be appreciative of it, or just make the best of it, what I mean, rather than just sulking in depression and because there's so much dark shit.
Throw another cliche out.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Silver lining.
Yeah, silver lining.
Exactly. Why would shitty things happen in life and it gets you down, but you make the choice, am I going to let this hold me down, or am I going to just keep riding the wave and move on?
Right.
Because immediacy, live now. Shitty stuff happens, but I guess it's in the past now, and you have to move on, because if you don't, you're just going to keep living a shitty life.
You're just reliving that.
Yeah, you're just
pain.
And not that certain pains will ever go away, but you just have to learn how to deal with them, cope, and
adapt and overcome.
And there's a learning experience in everything.
For sure. So you say you're like kind of raised this way, and you always felt that. Did you have like a philosopher or some turning, like some kind of like a muse in a sense, or something that kind of like shifted your perception? Like like you read something like that, like starts kind of.
No, honestly, since I can remember in elementary school, people were always like, "Why are you so happy? Why are you so happy? Why are you always so happy?"
Yeah.
And I still get that today, all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, why the fuck aren't you so happy?
Right. Yeah.
I'm happy because I'm choosing to be happy. And from as far back as I can remember, it's just always been that way for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
There was never a turning point of like, I went through something so catastrophic that I realized life was beautiful.
Which makes a lot of people learn that lesson,
Right.
Right, yeah.
Instead of like how you were taught.
Right,
From the get-go. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the power of living through positivity, because even just from your parents, that kind of breeding down to their kids, and then you spreading that through other people. I imagine, because I imagine somebody like you that has that kind of energy that surrounds them, like they don't let negative people into their life or kind of like suck that energy out, And I think a lot of times when people see like that bright energy, there are like those leeches, and there's those people that are kind of projecting their own insecurities that like, why is he so happy? And then they almost get angry about it. So do you run into a lot of that, do you feel like?
I mean, I've definitely had people that are annoyed about how
yeah, chipper, like
how Yeah, even like if everybody around is in a shitty situation, I'm still that person that's like, well,
Yeah.
all right, well, who fucking cares?
Yeah,
Like,
Because it's not.
moving on, yeah. Like,
I think a lot too. People make a big deal about anything anymore. Just the smallest little thing, and it's like, really, do you have to act that way because, you had to go get your fucking utensils and knife yourself, or like in the restaurant industry, I'm comparing
yes,
it to.
people get pissed off at something so simple of like, well, I didn't want cheese on that.
Right, that ruins their whole week,
day.
maybe.
Yeah.
But like,
And I'm like,
some of the, like, there's some people that just are so fucking wrapped up that like they're just ready to.
burst
and
explode.
argue and continue their negativity on
Those
anything,
are the one-star Yelpers.
But the problem is, like, we are, like, it's not necessarily barrier proofing, but we're giving all these people outlets to do that, whether it being Yelp, Facebook, Instagram. Like, they have all these platforms that now they can complain, and now
They
their
have
voice
the
is
voice.
heard. And even if there's, like, 5 other people, in the Phoenix area or something that are agreeing with them, now all of a sudden, like, they're, like, a little group that's like, yeah, fuck that. Like,
Yeah.
So, like, you're, like,
It's 5 people.
you're, like, but you're still, like, creating,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
negative energy, and then they're, like, feeding off of each other, and I feel like that's a big thing with. I don't know, maybe I'm just more aware of it as I grow up, seeing a lot of negativity in people, or maybe as I cry and cross that other side, that I see it in people when they're like so ready to snap or fucking complain about everything. But I feel like there's a lot of that going on always.
yeah.
It's the world we live in.
Right, yeah, just constant.
On edge.
Mm-hmm.
Walking on eggshells, It's kind of
Walking
sad.
on eggshells.
That's a good.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Love that song.
It's so good.
Yeah. So
Speaking
funny.
of songs, you brought up like that old iPod or something like that.
Oh yeah, I was digging through the garage the other night, and I found Rachel, classic Rachel's old iPod here.
Boner Jams 2002.
Yeah, I don't know what she's got going on.
Let's play
here.
that one. Yeah.
But we were talking about it. Jacob, you said you had like I think the iPad. What was it? The Shuffle.
The Nano.
was the only one that you've ever had,
Yeah, still the only one that I
And-
still have it.
and so you haven't uploaded like 9 to 10 years. Like it's been.
Yeah,
10
it's been
years.
like 9-10 years since I put new music on it, and it's not often that I plug it and listen to music.
Yeah.
But it's kind of awesome also plugging it in.
Then
And-
give those throwbacks.
Yeah, give you those throwbacks like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
What was like? What is some stuff that you listened to or on there?
There's literally, it was the LimeWire days, so there's
Okay.
literally like
Yeah.
so much random shit on there because it was like free download on LimeWire, and then randomly you get that one that's like I did not have sexual relations with that,
Go on.
Fucking LimeWire viruses next song,
I wonder how
but
many.
I don't delete them,
Right, exactly. I wonder how many viruses the era of like our age gave to our parents' computers through like Napster, what was like Shazam, not Shazam. I don't know. There was some LimeWire. There was an S. I don't know.
Aries was one.
I don't think I ever used that one.
Yeah, that was a popular
But
one.
you just like search it and then just like, oh, that file sounds good. And especially if you were going down the porn route, then you're just like, I guess I'll download that bit. Like, you just download.
Sometimes you get shit
there's no preview, just get them all. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they had previews back then,
Yeah,
right?
no,
That was just a subject. They're like, we gotta make this sound sexy. Nerf football, that'll be interesting. What's funny is I've talked to some people about some of these weird searches that I remember of like being with friends and stuff, and I think that if you think about the inventory on the internet, it was so small back then that I think a lot of people actually saw the same fucked up videos.
Definitely.
Like a very strange one. I'm just gonna get right into it. I
Go for it.
It's like this. I was
He
at my friend's house. Yeah, I'm talking to you about this. And he like opens her vagina and just puts his whole head.
Oh, yeah.
His
The
like.
bald guy.
I saw that.
Have you seen that video?
And the Nerf ball.
And the Nerf ball. She like gets it up in her pussy and just kind of
Yeah.
farts it out, spits
That
it out.
was so, like you're saying, there was the
It's
line,
like collective.
yeah, 12, 15 years ago, whatever that was. Like, there was such a small selection that
We've all just seen those
We've
same
all
fucked up
just seen-
20 videos.
Yeah.
But nobody's talked about it. And then now, these couple times I brought it up,
That's
people are
so
like,
funny.
hey, I've seen that video. I'm
Yeah, like I know what you're talking about.
I've
Yeah.
kept that skeleton back there for a while. Because I wasn't like, it's so weird, like that's, I don't know.
I just talked to a buddy this morning, and
About porn.
No, it's funny because at the place I used to work at, there was this guy and he's kind of weird, ex-drug addict, blah blah blah. Anyways, he randomly calls me and he'll be like, just about random shit, dude, and he'll be like, hey, just wondering how you doing. We gotta get the cars together, blah blah blah, because he knows I got my old bug. He's like, we gotta get these cars together and go on a little cruise, and then he'll randomly switch like, I was browsing Pornhub the other day, and like he'll send me like a video, and I'm like, I just don't respond. I'm like, Terry, I don't want to see this, dude.
I don't have any sending porn videos is strange.
You don't share that shit, so that's why what I was getting at was you keep that shit in the closet, like you said, that closet.
I forgot where you're going with that for a second.
Yeah,
I was like the weeds. And I'm like, where's the story? I'm trying to think connect somewhere.
No, here it is.
Skeletons in the
There's
closet.
the point.
Yeah.
I'm stupid, but not.
No, don't say that, Pedro. Don't get yourself down.
Yeah, Pedro.
Come on, Pedro. You can do
You
it.
can do it.
Get the skeletons out of the closet, man.
Oh, you don't want to see those.
No.
Just those random videos, man, that didn't get passed around like that. That's funny.
I've never sent weird or fucked up I don't know.
Yeah, and there's people that do that, or like group chats that I know
Are
I
there?
have my uncles. Sometimes they'll be like in a group chat, and not all of them, I'm saying, but and they'll send like weird shit or funny memes
Go on.
too, you know.
What's the weird stuff your uncle's sending you?
I'm not in them chats. Jeez.
Did you ever watch? Or the other weird thing about videos is those beheading videos and the really gory and violent ones. Those are I've never understood. There was a little phase people would show me oh, that's fucked up. But some people really actively watch them. And have you ever got into those kind of videos?
I mean, I've definitely seen them. I've never gotten into.
Yeah, it's
I've
just
seen them
oh cool.
before, so.
Hey, check this out. I'm like, well, I don't want to fucking watch a whole family be.
And if I did
beheaded.
when I saw them, I wasn't sharing them. You know,
Right,
it's
I'm jerking off in private to them.
Exactly.
Like a normal person.
Yeah.
Keep it behind closed doors.
Exactly.
That's why it's
Safety.
skeleton in the closet, guys.
Speaking of weird murder, and that's Charles Manson was the 1969 was today was the day that he told those girls to kill the Four family and the pregnant lady.
Oh shit.
It's crazy how fascinated I don't know I was at least with serial killers and just that kind of
Murder porn.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's a strange thing. I think I was watching one of the Hostel movies at some point because they were getting so good in production. I'm like, this literally looks. I mean, they're it's a torture film.
Yeah.
Somebody's getting super fun. Why am I what is the enjoyment
What
of
started
watching?
that? This. I mean, I guess
Saw?
they've always been around, but Saw I think made it really popular.
Yeah, Cube was an old horror movie that where they were chopped in a box and started it was
Texas Chainsaw was back
I
in
love
the day.
Texas
Yeah,
Chainsaw,
you know.
Texas Chainsaw's obviously a classic.
Big
I think
classic.
Saw though for this last 10 years, 15 years or so
Yeah.
was really the movie that went into the theaters and people were like, this is fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
or Human Centipede.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen any of those
yeah.
fucking movies?
That's
Teeth.
fucked
Have you
up,
seen
man.
Teeth?
Teeth, yeah, that's a good one though. Just teeth.
that
in
one's a
the
little
vagina.
different.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
exactly. Yeah, but it's a weird fascination that we have with serial killers, especially him. He's the only person that served life for never actually killing anybody. He just convinced people. He was fucking batshit though, but it's so
That's even more insane to me.
I know that he just
You had that control over.
Well, and there's still the serial killer thing with Dexter. You know
That's
what I'm
true.
saying?
Yeah.
It's still going on. And how many freaking seasons was that? Where more and more people are like, oh, this is good.
right.
Oh, this is
How many people he's gonna kill now?
Yeah.
It's still going on. Where
It's
people are-
glorified. Yeah.
It is kind of in a way, and then what's strange about that we were kind of I was gonna talk about this last week was Orange is the New Black, the same kind of that prison the prison system kind of a show or something.
Yeah.
But now there's documentaries. There's inside the max prison, inside death row, or and you're why are we I don't think we should be absorbing all of this information. It shouldn't seem so natural or funny.
Yeah,
You shouldn't
and
have
being okay.
jokes or being okay with it.
Well, and then I reverted back to the gun thing. How you said you were so comfortable doing it, and because you've seen so many movies and you've been absorbing all that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same thing. People grow up and kids grow up and they're oh, watching this show, and then they're like, I could live in prison, or like some stupid shit like that.
That's the thing, exactly.
You know,
We're like, prison seems fun.
I'd
or
be
like,
okay in there.
Yeah, I would last, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
The whole point is not to.
Is it all really a brainwashing because we have so many for-profit prisons
That's what
in
I'm saying.
America?
Exactly.
That they're trying to be like, oh, it's not bad.
And now they're making more money. And the thing is, there's such a resistance against the prison, like, the industry right now, because it's like, slavery, basically. So maybe that is true. They're trying to get into Hollywood, kind of being like, hey, kind of like show these people, like, it's,
don't be worried if it happens.
There's a basketball court. You can get drugs in there. Like, some of these people are living better lives, or like, and like, I think. And then they end up going
They're
to
holding a podcast in there,
And then they the funny thing too is then they'll find religion in there and they'll be like, well, God will forgive me, but the system that they're inside of won't forgive them, so they're just decaying in a box. I mean, like that, it's a crazy thing to be like desensitized to in that weird way. And I feel like that it could be it's a slippery slope for sure. And I try to question myself of when I'm watching those kind of things and try to be like, maybe you shouldn't be consuming this. Like,
so this is part of the reason I don't watch TV.
Right.
I've never had cable in my life. Growing up, still don't have cable. I have lived, my roommate watched cable before. My other roommate watched cable, so I've had access to it. And when I'm over at a friend's house, I'll sit down and watch TV shows, whatever it is.
Uh-huh.
But I don't ever go home and sit down in front of the TV and watch TV.
That's amazing to me. Like, I wish it's something I've been more aware of, trying to like definitely cut back on those things, but I've always admired like just completely.
Yeah, I would rather go sit on the side yard, smoke a bowl, and just think, you know what I'm saying, and just let my mind wander.
Yeah. It's like that yogi lifestyle of yoga, mindfulness, and all that. And I think it's super important. It's something that we don't show to enough people, because especially with like phones and everything now, we're so into media and so consumed by it that we're even getting more and more into it. Like, I just saw a couple days ago that like 8th grade movie by Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
Yeah, who I love, and it was just basically about like what it's like to be in 8th grade now, and it's like they're all like glued to their phones, like posting things constantly, and it's like
yeah,
I would see myself in that same trap, and I still do see myself in that same trap, and wanting to separate myself from that. I just, it's something that's consuming all of us like crazy.
Technology in general is taking over the world.
Yeah, which I mean,
like
I think
AI coming up, robots and shit.
It's gonna get
jobs shit's gonna replace.
I mean, you look at what our phones were, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and now it's like you literally have anything and everything you want in your pocket on this computer in your pocket.
Yeah, anything you can. I mean,
and technology is really not that old.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It's progressed so quickly that it's like, well, if it keeps at this rate, where is it really going to get us?
I forget what I heard somewhere too, like, technology's moving so fast, but us, like, as a race or, like, as humans, like, we're not developing fast enough to understand really, like, what we're doing or what we're creating and, like, the dangers that it has. There could be really beautiful things about, like, technology is it's amazing, like, but it's, like, respect and make sure it's not consuming you. Like, you're using it in a way, but also, where was I going with that?
God damn it. Strawberry coffee.
God damn it. It was going to be good, too. Oh, shit. What was I going with? I don't know.
We were just talking about
technology faster.
use it as a tool.
So like for example, you just mentioned that like jobs will get taken away, which should be awesome, like, because there should be more money thrown around that we could all maybe get or use and work less hours. But that's not how it's going to structure out inside society. We'll lose jobs and then we'll just get poorer and poorer, and like
it's already happening.
Right.
I stopped by Walmart for something today, and the same Walmart I was in 3 weeks ago, less than a month, had just, your normal registers and a couple self-checkouts. And now on each side, there's like 12 self-checkouts, and there was like 2 cashiers actually open.
Right.
So already that's 3 or 4 jobs that have been taken away. You go into McDonald's now, they have these screens where you just order yourself. Well,
it's happening.
It's already happening.
Are those in McDonald's? Are they?
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Gotcha.
And the new like remodeled McDonald's around the valley here, you can already just go up, type it on the touchscreen, pay on the touchscreen, and then just wait for it to come up. You don't have to have any human interaction.
And I mean, the cooks there are going to be next after that, and then like when self-driving cars come full into existence, like think about how many driving jobs are gonna be taken away, factory job, like everything's gonna be, and that could be awesome, and it should be awesome. We should all go to like 20 hours a week and be making the money if we work for these companies and help, steer things the right way. Like we should be benefiting from them too.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's like
It's not how it
the
works.
trickle down economy is complete bullshit.
Yeah.
But no matter how many times we're aware of it, we're always fighting somebody else. Speaking of that, do you keep up on, how do you keep up on news or anything like that? Do you just kind of just steer away from it? Like it's like a flood of waste of energy?
To an extent. I mean, I pop on, I still turn on the TV every now and again. You know what I'm saying? If I hear word from somebody else about something that's going on, I'll, log on the internet and research it, try and figure out what's going on. But, I mean, I guess it's, just being immediate and riding the wave. It's like, well, how are these really going to affect me? You know what I'm saying?
For sure,
If it's not going to affect me, doesn't matter to me. If I can put my vote in and actually steer it, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then that's a little bit different. But if it's just something that's happening that I have absolutely no control over or no possibility of having, any control over, why would I let that steer me in any direction?
It's like staring at like a car crash or watching heading videos.
Yeah,
It's like you're creating bad omens inside of you.
What is this doing for me in a positive way? Nothing. It's just giving me that thought of like, well, that's fucked up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same with the news. Like it's something that I can't do, or even them just showing these things on the news, like, well, 5 people were murdered today, 2 miles from your house. Well, that's fucked up, but what am I gonna do about that? You know what I'm saying?
And then just cuts right to $5 footlongs, go to some back to normal programming, human.
Yeah.
It's all fear. Like they just want to keep you scared and keep you engaged. It's like if they keep you scared, you're gonna keep on watching. You're gonna keep up with the news more and more often. Because you want to be like, oh shit, are they right behind me, or like are they hiding in my closet, or like what's it kind of. So yeah.
So you're leaving. When is it?
On the 25th.
On the 20th.
2.5 weeks.
Where are you going?
Going to Burning Man.
Oh, is that this? Oh, that's awesome.
That's in 2.5 weeks.
Did you just go to Burning Man? Was that like a year ago?
I was at Saguaro Man recently.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
Arizona Regional Burn. I was at that recently. So.
You're a
That's
big
awesome.
burner. You're a big burner.
I'm a little burner.
Burn big like a burner. That's that.
I mean, I love the burn community, so any chance that I can be with them,
Right.
And I mean, I got to be with them here, and my burner friends here all the time. But actually going to a gathering, an event, and Burning Man's gonna be.
I didn't know burner was like. Is that the correct? What's the word?
Yeah. Burner.
Bro, it's 2018. I shouldn't have said that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, burner. Then it's funny that it'd be like so close to
Big
burner. It's
burner,
like, well,
little
not
burner.
yet. I'm burning still. I will not burn out. What are you creating? Like I think you created something at Saguaro Man. Is that?
Yeah, Saguaro Man, I did a bunch of large-scale tie-dyes. I did 10 large-scale tie-dyes. They were 7 feet tall, 8 feet wide.
Yeah.
And so, nice and colorful during the day. And then at nighttime, I had RGB LEDs on them, which actually made the color completely change.
Oh,
and
nice.
more
Shit.
extremely psychedelic at nighttime, whether you were on psychedelics or not. And it was, we had a really gnarly year this year. We had 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts of wind, so half the project ended up going down. I actually didn't even get to finish putting all of it up. I got 10 out of 14 panels up. The wind kind of just took over, but it was still freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So
Does that compare to the actual Burning Man at all?
in the sense of community, which is, the most
Yeah, what's it
part.
like, man? What's
Like-
fucking Burning Man
Yeah,
like?
no, I have
It's
no
so
idea. I
interesting.
know.
So we're
All I know is like it's like this bartering community.
No, not even.
No, not even.
So at one point, yes, there was definitely bartering going on, but we're a gifting economy now. So gifting is one of our 10 principles, and you gift something to somebody knowing that they need it, could use it, could enjoy it, and you never expect anything in return, because it's something that they need more than you do. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
Or maybe you need it equally, but they could use it a little more. And it could be anything simple. It could be, you're gifting somebody who looks like they're hot walking through. I mean, you're in the middle of the desert.
Yeah.
You know, they look. You know,
This isn't
hey man,
bad.
you want a water? You know, you want to drink half of my water bottle?
Yeah.
That in itself is a gift, and maybe they really needed that, maybe not. You know what I'm saying? A couple things that I personally give as gifts at Burning Man are lights for your bikes, because you know, Burning Man is 9 square miles. At nighttime, when
Where
you're-
is this?
It's in northern Nevada. It's in the Black Rock Desert, so it's a big dried lake bed. And yeah, you're out in the middle of nowhere. And so I gift lights because at nighttime, if you're on the bike without lights, somebody else on a bike might hit you, or an art car might hit you
Yeah.
because it's so dark. You're in the middle of nowhere. You won't,
Right.
you know. So that's one of the things that I gift. I also, you know, gift diffraction glasses, which is really fun. Always watching people, you know, they're these glasses that you put on.
Oh,
like,
okay.
They have diffraction film on them, so like a single light point that you look at has 8 refracting rainbows
Gotcha.
coming from that one light point. So when you look at thousands of light points together, it's just really trippy, you know. So that
Whether you're on psychedelics.
yeah, whether you're on psychedelics. I gave these diffraction glasses to this woman at the burn, which was pregnant, and so obviously she was completely sober, and she put them on, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I can now have the psychedelic experience."
Oh, that's cool.
That is so
And I ended
funny.
up seeing her like a couple hours later, which doesn't happen often out there because
I
it's
bet.
so huge.
Yeah.
And I saw her at dancing on a stage, and she had the glasses on,
And you're like,
I
yes.
was just like, yes, like that's you
Perfect.
know. But
That was a reward in itself.
yeah,
you know?
that was the return that I
Yeah.
got. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the lights. You know, you put lights on somebody's bike and you tie them on there, whatever, and then when you turn on the switch and it's bright and everything's glowing around them, and their face is just like, oh my gosh, this
Yeah.
is awesome. That's the return right there.
Because
You're
like, you mentioned too that you guys get like these walls of dust too, right?
oh yeah, the whiteouts.
Whiteouts is what
Yeah,
they call
so it's a dried lake bed, so it's alkali dust, super
Oh.
fine, and
Yeah.
the wind kicks up and these storms come through, and it will just be like a white wall of dust, kind of like the haboots here, the
haboots,
dust.
yeah, that's
yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
You know, but out there, you know, sometimes they come and go quick, sometimes it's hours, sometimes
Oh,
days. There's
All days sometimes?
yeah,
Damn.
there's remember when I was there in 2015, there was one night that was white out for hours at night, and that in itself was an amazing experience.
sure, yeah, that's-
Because you realize, shit, I have another mile and a half to pedal on my bike to get back to camp, and you're riding, and you think you're riding in the right way, and you can't see. You see like 15 feet in front of you, and then
Yeah.
like you see kind of like lights. They appear, and all of a sudden there's like a structure that's like 30 feet tall, and you're like, where the hell did that come from? That's so crazy.
That's fucking
You
rad.
stop, you enjoy, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then you keep riding, and then you know, coming from Deep Ply, you finally get back into the town, and you're like, oh fuck. I meant to go to 10 o'clock, and I'm at 2 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'm literally on the other side of the city.
That's where that tower came from.
And that, yeah, right? But that's so fun.
That's the fun of it.
Like, yeah.
Getting lost.
Mhm.
Like as a kid, I was always like going into the forest, just like wandering. And I mean, that's obviously like it's awesome just to have a community where like they're building art and you're kind of it's like tacky like pay it forward thing. But like that's super beautiful. Like if we could bring that, and that's almost like what I said when I first met you, having that positive energy. That in itself is a gift to share with other people.
Yeah, for
It's just
sure.
people are so caught up in their own shit that like they don't appreciate or use it the way that they could.
Right.
But like those small little gestures, like it's, I don't know, like so how many glasses and like do you give them to everybody? Because there's so many people. How do you
No,
decide
I mean,
on that?
I'm not just like going out and around handing them out, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, like I'll generally be drawn toward somebody, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe I'm at a sound stage or at a art car that's bumping out in the middle of Deep Ply, and it's like I can just see somebody really enjoying it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, you want to enjoy it a little bit more,
Okay,
you know?
gotcha.
So I'm not just going like just handing them out to anybody, you know? I have,
Right.
you know, there's 70,000 people out there.
Right.
So it's
oh,
like,
is it 70,000?
Yeah,
Holy
so-
shit, that's crazy.
so there's, you know, I can't afford to give that many people stuff.
Right, right, for sure.
Not that you would see that many people anyways.
Where did you say that it was again? Upper Nevada?
Northern Nevada. So it's like close to Reno, about like an hour and a half, 2 hours
Okay.
from
Okay.
Reno, just outside of Gerlich. So it's called the Black Rock Desert.
I think what's cool about that, is there history of why it's there? Like, I think there's always something cool about, I mean, you said it used to be a lake, and now all of a sudden it's there's no lake, there's no water. It's
and it turns into a lake in the winter, actually.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Because like the Grand Canyon, there's like holy shit, like there used to be fucking water, or like Utah, you look, it's like this place used to be flooded. Like, so is there a sense of like, do you get any of that kind of like present stuff from like the past, or like is there like I don't know, some energy in the air flowing through that?
Not necessarily. I mean, not that I pick up, at least.
Okay.
It's in the same place, generally, in the same lake bed. So you always, when you arrive there, you always have this overwhelming energy, but it's because you've been there before, and you're having flashbacks of your previous experiences.
Gotcha.
Why they went there, I don't know. I haven't really looked into it. It started off in California. Larry Harvey started in California, I don't even know, 30-something years ago, and then it headed out to Black Rock Desert after just a few years of being out there, I believe, and then it's been there pretty much ever since. I think one year they left that property, went somewhere else, and then came back, and it's just been there every year since.
That's crazy.
How big? Like, how many people?
70,000, yeah.
Holy shit.
I know, is that crazy?
Yeah, and it's laid out, like, the layout of it's really amazing. Like, if you look at an aerial view, it's a grid system of neighborhoods. So you have streets you have Esplanade, which is the inner street, and then you have streets A through...
and every year it's set up the same way.
Yeah, the same setup of the city, yeah. And then so you have A through M, and then you have a clock pattern that goes from 2 o'clock all the way around to 10 o'clock. That's where the city ends. And then at 12 o'clock is the temple. At the center of the clock is the man. And then past the temple, past 12 o'clock would be what we call open playa, deep playa, where you're way out there and there's random art projects and, but you're not in the city.
Okay.
That is
you're right
crazy.
I know, that is crazy.
That is
so
awesome.
it's crazy, and you don't even realize how big it is. I remember my first year we were waiting in Gate Road to get in, which takes a few hours, and I see this tiny little thing out there, and I'm like, what the hell is it?
Pedro?
Yeah,
Is that your penis?
Is that?
You have to keep bringing it up every episode.
And yeah, it was a micro man. Okay.
It was a micro burner.
Yeah. But it was the Burning Man, like the actual man, that we burn on Saturday night, and he looked like he was just so tiny, and that's when I finally understood the perspective of how big this place actually is, because people had told me.
Okay.
And then riding to the man, like from our camp, at 5 and J, it's like, all right, well, from me to the man, that's like a mile. I can see him the whole time, and he just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you get to him, and then you're sitting on this base like, this is freaking amazing.
So is that the focal point of the festivities? Is it like burning the Burning Man?
Burning,
I mean, obviously it's pretty like
the man. You
yeah.
burn him.
So burning the man is on Saturday night.
Okay.
And then my favorite part of the burn is the temple burn, which is on Sunday night. The temple is at, the man's in the center of the clock. The temple is at 12 o'clock. The temple is a sacred space of release, basically. So you put pictures of past ones. You write notes, and basically what it represents to me and, definitely some other people I've talked to is something that's a heartache or something that you need to get over, something you need to deal with. You've now put into this beautiful temple, and then you sit with the rest of the community in silence and watch the temple burn. These things turn from physical to an element of fire. They're then released to smoke into the atmosphere, released back into the universe to take their course elsewhere, and keep going.
That's awesome.
So
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
The temple burn is very safe and sacred place. The man burn is loud, rowdy. There's art cars surrounding it, bumping music, all sorts of fun. The temple burn, everybody's silent, you hear people weeping, but
like a mourning almost.
Wow.
Grief.
for what? Yeah, and it's not necessarily a grieving. You can put something in the temple that's something that
positive.
Positive that you need for yourself. Saying, I need to change from a negative energy to a positive energy. I'm leaving that negative energy there. Whatever. It's not always just a death, that's going on in the temple, but.
What's awesome about like things like Burning Man or art, and is in that sense, it's like this community, and then you just shared your story of what it means to you, but every person's gonna have their own unique kind of takeaway from it or thing that they're learning. Like somebody could be dealing with death or loss, and somebody could just be like, just turning over kind of a new leaf, and they're all just kind of getting something out of this, so it's like it kind of gives them meaning, or like it puts some purpose behind maybe their life, I guess. So I mean, because being stuck how we are of like working 40 hours a week or whatever, like is that how you separate yourself from like this rat race of life? It's like going to Burning Man, it's like, is that what feeds your fire, I guess? Like,
well, I mean,
floats your boat.
Feeds my fire, floats the boat.
Yeah, just gets you, like, I mean, because I know you're not just like a mind, like, you're not watching TV, you're not just working to like, for materials, like, you're trying to expand yourself.
Yeah, so like, I mean, in the, let's see, 2014 was my first Saguaro Man that I went to, and then 2015 was my first Burning Man. And after my first Saguaro Man, I was like, holy shit, this community people are amazing. You know what I'm saying? So it's the community that kept drawing me back, or it was drawing really hard. And then the art as well, you know what I'm saying? So yes, it has been something that has been, fueling my fire, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like a reminder of like, I'm about to go back to Burning Man. I'm about to be surrounded by all these amazing people.
How long does it last?
8 days, a week.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll get through early Sunday morning, and then we'll leave early Monday morning the following Monday.
You ever lose track of time? Like, how would you like it? Like 9? I mean, after a nice like.
When you say time, do you mean like the actual time of day?
Or I just mean like if it's like 4 days. I mean, I've gone on a couple psychedelic trips in my life before. I just be like, all of a sudden, like, what day is it today?
So yes, definitely to an extent. When I get there, right when we go through gate, I turn off my phone. I don't wear a watch. I'm a timeologist, so we discovered this at Burning Man 2015.
Okay.
When I'm out there, I just look at the sun, and I'm always within 15 minutes of what the
Are you?
is. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Like it's happened so many times
That's
out there,
so funny.
and then my cousin will ask, "What time is it?" And I'll be like, "Oh, it's this time." And then somebody else will be like, "No," and I'll be like, "Do you have a watch?" And they'll look at me like, "That's fucked up."
If you were born like 1,000 years ago, you would have been like God of time or some shit.
Yeah.
Just like naked in the town, like it is time.
Like the picture on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
That's such a majestic ass picture.
That's a good
dude. He
picture,
looks so
yeah.
great.
Is there a story behind that? Or the story? Yeah, you said that. What was the nickname? The Spacejam VH. What's?
Oh, Spacejam on VHS, my playa name. So people in the Burning Man community get these playa names, which is you're in this temporary community. We actually create the world's largest temporary community, and I believe Nevada's third or fourth largest city, something like that.
Yeah, sure. Sounds right.
We're all about hard facts on this.
People are learning a lot from this podcast.
Yeah. So, we create this temporary city, and in that time, I feel like you don't need to be worried about time. When people ask me what time it is, a lot of times I don't even look, like, let me see if I can be...
Let me see
if I can be the time whisperer. My reply a lot is, it's playa time.
Yeah, like that's...
Like, it doesn't
awesome.
fucking matter.
Yeah.
We're all on the playa together. It doesn't matter what time it is.
Yeah. Enjoy now.
Yeah, so one of the principles is immediacy. Be immediate. What are you so worried about that you have to be at 3:30? Do you really need to see that DJ? And it's funny because you get this booklet and it has all these times, and so you can generally be like, okay, well, if we leave an hour, 2 hours early, we'll get there and just hang out,
Mm-hmm.
That barely ever happens because you find so many other things going on the way that you don't actually make it.
Yeah.
And if you do make
you'll
it,
catch the end of it or something.
Yeah.
That's
So time, do you lose track of time? Definitely. I personally.
Well, I think that's awesome because I just feel like we're so constricted by time. Like I wish even for myself I could forget it. Like it's my weekend right now, so now I feel like I'm counting the hours or counting this, and it's like why can't you just enjoy it? Like don't look at the clock. Like who cares what time it is? Like I don't know. Like is there a way that you can take that? Are you always like that, or is that something that you've learned? Like at Burning Man, it's easy because you just said you're taking 2.5 weeks off, so you're just like, well, fuck it, time. It doesn't even matter because you don't have any you're not tied back to society. You don't have to go to work or anything, so it's easier not to care. But what about if you are working? Can you still escape that? Is there a way? Is there a secret?
I mean, no, because when you think of you're at work, you're in this scheduled time.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, we're just thrown into the structure.
Yeah, it sucks.
You're in the structure.
It sucks you can't.
You're in the default world time of work. You know what I'm saying? But outside of work, do I pay attention to time? Only to an extent.
Yeah.
When I have something going on, if work time, you're stuck in work time no matter what.
Uh-huh.
Whether you're looking at the clock or not, you're stuck there. You're stuck there for 8 hours. And,
Right.
Until you reach that 8 hours, just be stuck there.
Yeah.
Be positive. Don't be like, oh fuck, I'm stuck at work,
Yeah.
That's like so many people's problems.
Yeah. So, outside of work, back in the default world, compared to not caring about time at Burning Man, I don't necessarily care about time here either unless there's something that I'm doing. And generally, I'm either early or late, not on time.
Gotcha. I like that.
Just like meeting with you guys.
Spacejam on VHS.
Spacejam on VHS,
Dude,
And it's a VHS. It takes a little time to rewind.
But are you late or on time? Never on time. Like if there's no time, you just are.
If there's
you
no
arrive
time,
when you
then
arrive.
You're there.
exactly. Then I don't have anywhere that I have to be in a certain timely manner.
That's interesting way to look at it. Whoever you mentioned who started Burning Man,
Larry Hartley.
yeah, did he give a reason why, or did? Well, I don't know. I just constructed this idea in my head, like Burning Man. Maybe it's like a form of sticking it to the man, showing that he can form this community of like
definitely
these
burning
self-sustaining
the man.
community without your government.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We can create a community on our values, our 10 principles, an open community to anybody and everybody from all ages, anywhere around the world, and we can have our own community. So yes, fuck the man, because we don't need you to shape and control us in the way that you want us to be, because we can be free in the way that we want to be and all be free in our own way, but still work as a community.
Right.
And you're always welcome in the community until you're not.
Right.
Until there's something extreme that happens, For instance, our 11th principle that a lot of people say is consent. If there isn't consent, you don't touch somebody. You don't, you know what I'm saying? So if you
That's number 11?
Yeah. well, there's the 10 principles.
They actually added it.
It's the unspoken.
I guess I'll add that.
Yeah. It's always been there, but we've never, I feel like you never had to write it down on paper because it was just always something that was known.
That's like the whole Bible thing. It's like the 10 Commandments. But would you murder somebody if it wasn't written down? That's common.
Yeah.
It's a happy community. Why put other people down?
Do you think that's a possible form of living after?
I don't know.
All robots or AI take over and there's just flying cars everywhere, but down below the pores is just this type of community.
I think I think there's beautiful little groups like that do that, and then the government and the media kind of tries to put a stigma on it, they're reckless or doing a bunch of drugs, and you don't see the true side of people are they're grieving or they're learning, they're loving, they're giving, and they're bringing this back with them, they're
spreading it.
Exactly. And I think I think anything that threatens the way that society is ran, they feel threatened and they try to push it and shun it down in a way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they just want you to stay on that little hamster wheel, to get that electricity. They don't want you to forget about time for 2.5 weeks or whatever. They don't want you to expand your mind. Why?
That's why psychedelics aren't legal.
Your mind.
That's
so
That's
true.
why psychedelics aren't available.
Yeah.
It's because once you do psychedelics and your mind is open to so many other things, if everybody was to do that, it would be an overthrow of the government.
Oh yeah, I mean they changed my life completely.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they changed my life. It changed my life. Then I didn't get a good read on that till years and years later to really see what it did or how it enhanced or how changed my parallel lines of thinking. But it is interesting because they're talking about trying to do LSD and MDMA with people with PTSD and all these these like controlled things that like
There's
there's
microdosing.
yeah, there's such
Yeah,
good
definitely,
studies and shit, like it would change people's life, but yeah, it's like this stigma, like they don't want you to shed the layers of reality, like they don't want you to know who you think you are.
But they
Yeah.
did that with like reefer madness back in the day too. You
Oh,
that's
yeah.
how marijuana, and then just now we're really seeing the effect of it becoming legalized, and so maybe we're in that same process moving forward with the psychedelics
Well, yeah,
because
I
of
mean-
all these studies that are coming out.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I
I hope so too, 100%.
I haven't looked recently, but I know California was in the process or trying to get psilocybin.
That was on the ballot. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it made it on or what's
It
going on.
made
with
it
that.
on, but it didn't pass.
Yeah.
But the fact it's like with marijuana, it took like 10. So it's so
Yeah.
annoying about.
But that's
Yeah.
a big step, and they're not,
Uh-huh.
It's not like, oh, let's just legalize mushrooms so everybody can be tripping balls.
Yeah.
It's like,
No.
no, microdosing psilocybin has amazing effects in anybody.
Oh,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying? There's so many things that it can work for that why don't we have this? Oh, because if you take higher amounts of it, you'll have this life-changing experience.
Right.
And maybe you
True,
won't.
right? Yeah.
Right.
For some people,
Yeah, that's true.
it can take multiple times of taking a psychedelic before they finally have a breakthrough. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That you've, what's that?
Epiphany.
Epiphany.
Yeah.
Epiphany.
That was like me with marijuana though. Like I started smoking, and I was late to the game too. And like that's the thing. I didn't see like reefer madness or anything when I was a kid, but like I knew
Well, I didn't
I
either.
saw
I just
enough.
know
I saw enough of the
those.
propaganda
Yeah.
to like be like,
Exactly.
this is what smoking this is gonna like do to me. And then I remember like I was dating a girl and she liked smoking weed, so I would just like kind of like it was like not peer pressure, but like I just wanted to be a part because my idols all did it. And like she was like I need to like. I need to see what this is about, but I didn't really enjoy it until maybe like 20 or 30 times. Then I started kind of figuring it out, almost because I had a perception of what it was supposed to feel like, rather than just taking it in and then trying to, run with that.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was and then now I'm a daily marijuana user, but not in an abusive way, just in a way that it helps me fine tune kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that it's a natural thing.
It's better than alcohol.
I think
It
so,
is.
yeah. Alcohol's just legal.
And
That's-
speaking of
Right.
we just did 30 days of not
Yeah.
drinking, and I drank the last 2 nights and nothing crazy either. I had 3 beers one night and 4 beers the other night, and is that a lie?
He's a
Crazy.
lightweight. He's a lightweight.
I just feel like since these 30 days have gone by, I'm just gonna have one or two.
That's
and
what
I'm
that's.
just
Well, it's kind of like this thing of me reverting to my old ways. Like this seems like the usual amount. This is my dosage. Let me consume it this way. But as I was doing it,
That's how overdoses happen.
that's true, right? That's true. But doing this and then. I've never been dry for that long when just smoking, but I really did change a layer of how I was seeing things, of how much alcohol was just controlling my mind and really just dumbing me down in a way that I didn't enjoy either of the times, and I felt guilty and almost I don't shutting off my brain like this.
Right.
I was so addicted to that in a sense of wanting to turn everything off.
Right.
Because it's easier to deal with life and things like that when you can just be shut up.
You posted on the story the other day you were drinking and you had a book by it. And that's what I usually do. I'll go out back and I'll have crack open a beer and sit down with a book and just read or write, because you can drink and you can go down these YouTube holes and just, or binge watch TV and drink,
Yeah.
which is, I feel like that's really depressing. You're just drinking to make your show better. It's a good show.
That's funny. That's exactly what's funny is that, and that's when I was okay, now I can do this. You get some beer, watch TV, or you go down to YouTube. Because I said, I haven't gone to YouTube in the last 30 days because I haven't wanted to. 'Cause I'm not drunk. I don't have these lower I don't know, senses of enjoyment.
Right.
I start questioning more. So that night. The first night when I drank, I was I'm gonna read a book. that was a very strange instant reaction because I was I turned on Netflix and I was bored within minutes and I'm no, I'm gonna read this book I just started just got
Yeah.
War of Art or something, and then it's talking about resistance and how resistance can take a bunch of different shapes and addiction or something if you want to start at hobby or try to self-improvement, anything, resistance is your biggest enemy, and that can disguise itself in a multitude of ways, and one is through addiction of that. So then and I was holy shit, this is it just connected those dots.
Right.
It's easy for me to say now because it's only been 2 days, but I really hope that it's like I'm
A
going on
continuous
it. Yeah, because
pattern,
it's like I don't like who I am with it.
Well,
anymore.
and it starts as a habit. You know what I'm saying? Before you even hit addiction, it's just like a habit of, oh well, I'm gonna come home and sit down and chill and watch TV. And I'm saying, well, I might as well have a beer or
Right.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
And then that turns into your nightly habit of like, well, I just want to just like chill out for a minute. You know what I'm saying?
I need to chill.
Yeah, and then it's like, well, now you've just put alcohol in your brain and you've just dumbed yourself down. Now you're just turning into a blob.
Dude, 100%. I know it's like it's almost sad to me because I identified with it. So I mean, I've been an alcoholic for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like, and I see that part of me now, and it's like it's kind of sad. I guess it's good. I learned from that, and I hope I can like keep on. And like I have to thank you, Pedro, for like even doing it with me, like and challenging me. Like I think it could have been like really one of the most beneficial things I've done.
And I thank you too because I fucking haven't vaped, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
so
true,
happy
yeah.
about that. Like,
And
honestly,
same with that, like it just becomes a habit where
Yeah,
like,
I know.
oh, you're in your car vaping.
Oh,
you know what
and
I'm
that's
saying?
when I
you're
reach
at
for
work.
it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna take a 4-minute break. Okay, cool. Run outside,
Right.
whatever it is. Wherever it just turns into a habit of, and then your habit
For
turns
me,
into
it was like-
to an addiction where you realize like, oh well, this isn't just a habit of when I do it in the car anymore. Now it's like, fuck, I don't have my vape when you get in the
That's-
car, and now
yeah.
and then you're realizing, oh, like this isn't just a habit of, oh, this is something I do normally. Like no, now you're addicted and it turns into your lifestyle.
Right. No. Yeah, for sure. And that's when I would reach for it mainly in the car. Or for me, I used to smoke cigarettes and then I went to the vape. But after I smoked weed, it's like I had to have a cigarette. Or like, and then when I vaped, I had to, hit my vape. And I'm just, now I whenever I smoke, I'm just like, I still kind of get that like tingling, like, oh, that'd be nice. But I'm like, no, I don't do that anymore. And this has really helped.
What is the need for it? Is it why do I feel that I need it? What is it giving me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to your point of like the association thing of like you want to relax, and you're saying, oh, to relax, I need to drink a couple beers, or like I love vaping in the car when I'm driving. Like you like associate these things. Like for me, I was like, I can't enjoy. Like it's my weekend, I need to fucking drink. Like I just assume like how am I gonna enjoy my Friday night if I'm not having a couple beers?
A buzz, yeah.
So and that's the thing. It's like, and that's the habitual thing, and it disguises itself in this weird way. It's like, oh, I can't enjoy going out. I can't enjoy this. I can't enjoy anything without this vice in a way.
And I've saved some money.
Yeah.
Like not drinking.
Right.
I just feel better. It's one of those things too where like I didn't realize how many other aspects of my life it was changing. Like it's like, you sleep worse, you eat worse, like you do all these other things that it's like I'm a little bit more agitated. Like it was really trickling into so much of my life and effects that I didn't really realize that it was. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a weird thing. So I hope it keeps going, but like, and then
I just hope after the 30 days, like you said, continue the pattern of knowing when to stop and not, going overboard always.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I used to do. I always used to drink when I went out. I drank and 7, 8, 9 beers,
stop drinking
10,
until
2
the bar's
shots.
closed.
Like you just keep drinking, or just get hammered while you're there, even if you leave at 9 o'clock. Just I didn't know when to stop.
Yeah, that's.
But I would only drink like that when I went out, and for a while back then I was going out, and then I calmed down a bit.
That's what you have going, because I have the opposite issue. Like I love drinking by myself.
Yeah.
Which is probably a very like it sounds depressing as hell, but I don't know. Like it was always like a super super comforting thing, and I would even date people that would enable that behavior, that would drink, like on par with me. Like that was something that you had to be able to do.
It's very healthy for you.
I didn't realize that. Like I did like a year ago. I started being like, hey, wait a second, I think I see a pattern here.
Right.
Like it clicked. I was like dating this girl, and like I saw this, like I was like going backwards in time, like people are dating. I was like, there is a continuation of reason why I'm like with this certain. It's like, holy shit, I need to like start questioning and fixing that part about me. You've never. I think you've said you're not much of a drinker, Jacob, are you?
Oh no, I am.
Oh, are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Like how?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone through so many ways, just like smoking cigarettes. Like I've gone through these ways where like it's a habit, and then it turns into addiction, and then once I realize it's addiction, then I pull myself back.
Okay.
But then over time I start to fall back into
Right.
it, you know.
Yeah. So you never really leave.
Yeah.
It's like your mistress.
Yeah.
You call her up every once in a while.
Shout out to mistress.
It's the only thing I've ever. Yeah. Hello, girl.
What up, girl? You still listening?
Yeah.
I'll be home soon.
Yeah, right. About to drink you
Keep
up,
it wet.
girl. Yeah. You know, but there was times where I would want to come home and drink, and I would drink a half a bottle or 3/4 or a full bottle of vodka or whatever by myself at home. You know what I'm saying? And then there's, you know, times where I just want to come home and I'll be doing whatever. I'm like, oh yeah, beer sounds good. You know what I'm saying? So I've gone through these waves of being and same with going out. You know, there's times where I go out and it depends on the situation where I can control myself and I can't. You know, there's times still that I go out where I'm just like, drink.
Yeah.
Oh shit, you only have 3 hours left. That's at least 8 more drinks. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just like plastered by the end of it. The next day you wake up and
you feel like shit.
You feel like shit and you're like, why did I do that? You know? And then there's those times where you go out, you know what I'm saying, to the bars and you're just like, okay, well, I'll have 1 or 2 beers here and then
maybe
go
some wings.
Yeah, maybe some wings.
And
We can go to the other bar
Sounds
and, you know, and like when I was, you know, 21, 22, probably even to 23, like Old Town Scottsdale, I was like, hell yeah, it's just a shit show party.
Yeah.
Like, I had connections at bars so that I would get, you know, I paid $20 and drank free all night.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So, or drank for $20 all night.
Yeah.
You know? And so, I'm like, well, I guess that wasn't free.
What'd you pay for that?
You know, $20.
No,
wink,
eventually
wink.
it would benefit you.
Yeah. So right. So then I just get completely hammered, blacking out sometimes, which is just stupid. You know. Now it's like I would rather just go meet up with a few people. If we're going to a bar, I'd rather go like downtown. You know what I'm saying, and somewhere that's chill and like we can just have a couple of drinks and we're not getting wasted.
Yeah.
But there are still those times that I go out and
it
we're all
happens.
like, oh, we're getting fucked up that night. You know?
There's like this thing in your brain, right? It's like, I think today I'm gonna just let the. But I mean, with anything, like we used to say this fucking probably every podcast, like moderation and balance. But it's like, I mean, sometimes, come on, dude, like, can't you just get like fucking wild? I mean, it's fun sometimes.
Well, it's just like it's all moderation too. You know what I'm saying? And knowing when you need to take a break.
Yeah.
You know, like I get to those points where I'm like, okay, yeah, you need to take at least a month off. You know, of drinking, and then when you start again, it's like, okay, just a couple beers here and there, and then a few more months later, and then it's like, all right, well, I'm ready to party again. You know what I'm saying? And then it's been this vicious cycle, definitely. But the amount of intoxicant that you take definitely changes. Whether it's an addiction or, you know, like you could have a beer you could have a beer a day, and I would consider that a habit still. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not looking to get drunk.
Yeah, that's true.
It's just your habit of I come home.
That's an unwinding.
I have my vice of a beer unwinding.
Yeah.
Not I'm coming home. How quick can I get drunk?
Yeah,
you know? Then there's this thing. It's just like talking about microdosing, like, you know, microdosing psilocybin, for instance, or taking psilocybin, for instance. Me taking 1 gram compared to 3.5 grams, which is the most that I've ever taken, and 1 gram, I can still be there. I can still think. I can still communicate. I can still, you know what I'm saying? It's a whole nother experience compared to taking an 1/8 of psilocybin.
Right.
And
That goes out to dark.
and not being able to get off the couch and staring at everybody else that went outside. You know, there was this time that I was like, let's take this late afternoon so we can watch the sunset. Like the sunsets in Arizona are beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
It's my idea. Let's take it earlier because we normally take it after the sun goes down. And just enjoy our night, you know.
Yeah.
So now the sun's going down, and I'm sitting on the couch inside, looking at everybody else outside tripping and watching the sunset because it was just so much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So,
You couldn't handle it.
yeah. So it comes back to even moderation of alcohol. You know, if you're going out in general and you have 2 or 3 beers, you know, maybe get a buzz, or you're having 4 beers at each bar. You know what I'm saying?
It's a whole different.
It's just a whole different.
That's true.
That's that slippery slope, though, when you start getting that buzz and be like, oh, can I get another one? You know, like,
Right.
Well, tolerance
Tolerance too.
That's
yeah,
the real
that
bitch. I mean, it's like
for sure.
because you don't even realize because it takes you so much to get to a certain
Right.
point. Then all of a sudden, that's a ridiculous amount of substance to get you to this
Yeah.
effect. Like
Yeah.
that's for me. That's when I was like, I needed to like the 30-day thing. I was like, I need to like that. I was like, saw my like I was drinking way too much, like not even feeling the effects that I wanted.
Are we doing sober October?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
But it's like I think like what you're saying is like keeping that pattern of taking a month off, a couple of weeks off, and just really separating yourself, or to give yourself a full perspective of everything.
I think we keep saying this too. Like it's just almost as a way of reevaluating yourself and you know setting yourself for what you really actually want in life, or just what's coming. You know?
And being able to recognize.
Yeah.
Being able to recognize when you're going too
Oh
far.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then using some discipline to stop yourself. I think that's
recognizing, oh, I'm drinking every night when I get home from work. I'm having a 6-pack. I'm barely getting anything from it. It's just making my body
just
die.
Yeah,
literally.
I just feel like shit. Yeah, it's like what
I need to take a 30-day break.
Yeah.
You know, and then 2 weeks into that 30-day break, you're like, wow, I didn't realize how much I actually needed to do this and how many things have changed. You know, anytime that I take a break from alcohol or a break from marijuana, which only lasts 2 weeks tops.
Shout out to Mary Jane.
Let's be true.
But that's also because that can be used in so many ways. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Compared to alcohol, it's like, well, you're getting drunk. You know, with weed, you're just getting high. You're still getting high, but whether it's for pain, whether it's, you know, I haven't eaten and I need to eat, whether it's I just want to get baked and sit on the couch, you know.
Yeah, or the CBDs that you...
CBD.
I just started getting into CBDs, like the half and halves or 1 to 4, 4 to 1.
Even the lotions, like...
I never was into the They don't know. They haven't really done anything for me. I've tried a couple, but...
Yeah, the one we got was pretty cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, CBDs.
Give you a little numbing effect. But I guess Icy Hot does the same shit.
Yeah.
Well, I think in some of them they just put it in there basically, like, I would imagine even to trick the mind.
I was gonna ask, I think...
Right?
Maybe.
Could be. I
so
mean,
it's like, because there's some that I've bought and that have that in there that I'm like, those don't feel good. And the other ones that I put the lotion on, and then it's like, I don't feel some immediate gratification, but I feel like maybe a couple hours or an hour or the next day I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel like inflamed. So you don't get that like...
Yeah.
Well, that's like even with smoking. Like when I have, you know, I got a wakeboarding accident in 2010 and tore the muscles in my lower back. I just screwed my body up in a couple places, but my lower back is like where I still have issues, and in one of my vertebrae I still have issues. So smoking... compared to taking a tincture where you drop it under your tongue, that helps my pain in my body more. You know what I'm saying? But I have to wait an hour and a half for that to kick in. You know, same with like a salve or a lotion. It's like it takes a while to actually get, you know, compared to hitting the pen or, you know, smoking flower. It's like within 10 minutes I'm literally feeling my muscles from tight and spasming to slowly releasing, you know.
Yeah.
And so, although the other options of marijuana work better, this is the quickest way to get to it.
Yeah, that's what I love about having a card though too. It's like you can really choose what you're gonna buy and then know what you're gonna get from it. Because like in the black market, and that's the whole thing with like legalizing all drugs or whatever. It's like, yeah, well then people are gonna abuse. It's like, yeah, people probably will, but they're already gonna find these things. But if you can actually regulate your and if you can regulate your dosage and really figure out what's working for you and the ways, because like me being, you know, I've been smoking weed for like, I don't know, every day for like 10, 11 years too. But a long time ago, I would say it's for like making me feel better, kind of the kind of like medicinal things I get out of it now. But I was really just getting like stupid stoned or not, because like your dosage is always going to be so much different. Or strain. It's like...
Yeah, I was having this conversation with my dad the other day actually, and talking about how, you know, when he was our age, the potency of marijuana compared to what it is now, and it's, you know, tripled, quadrupled, you know, and the percentage of THC in the flowers. And I was telling him, like, it's so nice when I, you know, having my card and going to the dispensary that I can be like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that's going to help with my pain and put me to sleep. Or I'm looking for something that's going to be so high that I can't even stand up off the couch. You know what I'm saying?
And they got that too.
And it's so nice having the option to go in and be able to regulate within your own means of what you need from the plant.
Right.
And I think they need to just legalize drugs across the board. You know, like what is it, Portugal or
Yeah, I think Portugal did it.
You know,
like last year or something like that.
Oh, really?
You know, it's talking about just get rid of the black market.
Right.
Okay. If people are gonna keep doing meth, heroin, coke, all these things that are not good for you. Well, if you regulate it, decriminalize it, you're now getting more pure strains where people can dose properly for what they're looking for their recreational high,
Right.
without the worry of what is this cut with. How much fentanyl is in this?
Right.
Am I gonna die from my second shoot up, which I
Right.
normally don't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you have it legal, you can come in, 21 and older, just like recreational marijuana, get whatever drugs you want. They swipe your ID. They only allow you to get so much throughout the month, and if you have an addiction, you go beyond that. But they also open up all these recovery centers.
Right. Yeah,
so when you realize you have an addiction, you can go in, and the money coming from the drug selling is going into this as well, where you can come in for free.
Similar to that now, isn't there?
Here?
Or not that like they'll sell you the drugs, but like they give out needles and like a place to do it, and then
Oh, like smarter drug use.
Well,
kind of
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places you can go in and ask for needles, and they'll give you clean needles because they don't want the spread of HIV and other diseases.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're like, so it's that same mentality. Well, you're going to do it. We might as well be safer about it.
Right.
Well, then be safe all the way in the sense of people are still going to die, okay? And you just have to accept that. If people are so far into the drug that they're going to die, then you have to let that drug take them. Because if they're letting it take them, you can't fight for them if they're not going to fight for themselves.
Right, and you're only providing money to, like you said, to criminals and the black market. You're feeding the black market by, and then it's funny because, it's blind eyes to, clean needles or, giving these things. But it's head shops, for how many, 20, 30 years, we're selling bongs and stuff like that. Oh no, this isn't for weed. It's
tobacco.
It's so we're just turning a blind eye to the black.
Uses it for tobacco.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
This is a Marlboro Red.
Special blend right here. Yeah. So legalize drugs.
I still hit it.
Or decriminalize at least, so you're not putting people into jail unless they're being outside the law and getting these drugs, cutting them, and then selling them. So they're still in the black market. So eliminate the black market as much as you can. Open up recovery centers for people that want help, and let people that want to get high on this drug and not have to worry where it came from, because we know it's been produced in a lab somewhere where
it's gonna be good.
Yeah,
It's
gonna
be real good.
I actually test my drugs.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about that.
So you can buy testing kits online, and it doesn't tell you the potency of anything, but they're just these little dripper regions, and there's so many different ones for everything. And for instance, when I take MDMA, I want to make sure that there's not heroin or something in there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Specifically heroin or fentanyl or something like that.
Right.
So you take a little sprinkle of it, you put it on, the backside of a plate, however many regions you have, which are the drippers, and you drip one and you watch it change colors, and you compare it to this colorless, and after a minute you can tell, okay, this first region told me it was indeed MDMA, it immediately went purple to black. This next region told me, there's potential that there's codeine in it, because it started with green, went to this yellow, then went to purple to black. This other one told me, there's potentially, heroin in it. Okay, well, I don't want to take it then, luckily I've never had that happen, but I still like to be safe about it and let people know that I'm giving it to, you know what I'm saying? If you're going to take this journey with me, I want to let you know there's cocaine in this, so you're going to be up for a while.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So that's what I was gonna say too. Is I don't know. For me, a lot of my harder drug use was when I was younger. I also do psychedelics, to do them a couple times a year at least now. But things there's kind of this reckless thing about it too, which is you can get drawn to. Mm-hmm. So is there by taking it and doing this test sample, okay, let's say you do find something, are you gonna keep it anyways? Because you're well, fuck, I spent $10 on this.
No, absolutely not. I have no problem throwing away drugs.
No, gotcha.
It's just like throwing away money to anything else.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
true.
Anything else that you don't need that you buy, okay?
Yeah.
Buying a Thirst Buster at Circle K, you know, for $1, and then you're like, oh, this is flat, I don't want it. Are you still gonna drink it?
Right.
No, like if it
That's
tastes like
true.
shit, why would you drink it? So it's like, you know, I will get the drug, I'll test it. If it comes out clean, you know, looks clear, you know what I'm saying, then I'll buy more of it. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
Say there's 6 of us that all want to have, you know, a time together taking some MDMA. Okay, well, I'll buy 1, test it. Okay, now I'll buy 6.
Okay,
You know?
okay.
It's money.
Yeah.
Who fucking cares?
That's true.
You know
No,
what I'm saying?
it's a great way to look
if
at
there's
it.
a risk of anything, why is $10 worth it? $20? I don't care if it's $1,000.
It's just part of
It's
just
not,
part of it.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
accept that things aren't always good, and when they're not good, you get rid of them. Just like anything in my life, you know, if it's
Right.
not good, you cut ties.
Yeah,
you
that's-
don't. There's no reason to keep it around. So same thing with drugs. If there's something in it that I don't agree with, you know what I'm saying? Even if I take a drug, you know, that comes out fine, and you know, I'll let people know, like, I don't know exactly what's in it. You know, this is what I saw that's in it, but I had a really bad hangover the next day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So just keep that in mind.
Right, yeah,
So.
I guess getting into like responsible drug use and using it in that kind of way, is that?
So that goes back to legalizing it.
Yeah.
If you want to use this drug or try the drug, for instance, you know, I have my friends' parents that have never smoked weed ever, and now in Colorado smoked weed for the first time. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yeah,
they were
I feel like there's a lot of people
and they
like
were
that.
like, oh, this isn't bad, you know? It's how the same thing, like, after I first started smoking weed, I told my parents, I was like, you fucking lied to me!
Right, yeah, right. Which makes you then more to like try other things.
Yeah.
That's the whole honesty. That's the whole thing with propaganda, like being honest with like what these things can actually be or
Yeah.
turn into. You know?
And when I was in high school, I did drugs recklessly in the sense of I didn't care. I just wanted to try and get the high and experience
Exactly.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now it's like, now that I understand, like, you can have fun with drugs, you know what I'm saying, but you still have to be smart about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You still have to moderate it properly. You still have to make sure that it's coming from, you know, somebody that's, you know, quote unquote trusted. You know?
Yeah.
Dependable.
Yeah, exactly. So that I now realize, like, oh, you got to be smart, you know. And before, you know, it's like, oh, if you're gonna take, you know, say you're going to a concert and you're gonna take some drugs, you know. When I was younger, it'd be like, all right, well, like, okay, like, how much can we take? Because
right.
we're gonna get fucked up.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, well, I don't need to take 2 pills. I can take 1 because 1's gonna put me where I want to be.
Right,
It's gonna
out
put me
that
in
way.
a safe
Yeah.
and comfortable level compared to sitting in the corner looking around like, where the fuck am I? You
So
know?
is that how all your like drug use? Would you say like do you get reckless anymore with it, or is it all almost for like this enlightenment kind of like reason now?
Yeah, I mean, it just depends what the drug is and the reason that you're taking it, you know. But there's always some sort of learning experience from
Yeah.
any drug. Even getting stoned, you know what I'm saying, smoking
For
a little
sure.
weed, your mind still goes to a place where you learn something, and afterwards you can always take something away. Not that it's not always good, you know what I'm saying. You may have to face something dark, especially within psychedelics, you
Yeah.
know. But now I definitely am. I would consider myself a safe drug user.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
What? Oh, sorry.
no, it's, you know, for instance, like LSD. Like, if I'm gonna take a tab of LSD, I'm gonna take a tab and see where it takes me instead of just taking 2 off the bat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because right now you might not be feeling it, but in an hour and a half you might be like, holy shit, I'm high. Well, in an hour and a half, if you're still like, oh, I'm kind of just floating, and 2 hours later, then take another one. You know what I'm saying? Because if they're heavy and you just take 2 right off the bat, now you're in a place that's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know? Which I used to not care about, you know what I'm saying? Because I would just get so high. And actually...
You thought that was what, like, using drugs was.
Yeah, exactly.
Trying these new drugs, you have to have it to, like, the full extent.
So, like, salvia, I don't know if you guys have ever smoked salvia
I know.
divinorum before. It's grown in Oaxaca, Mexico. And, I mean, probably other places as well, but I know it's been used there for ceremonies for years. So, very spiritual drug. Well, when it was legalized here, I got it I was 16 for the first time you could get it at the smoke shop. You had to be 18, but of course I got it from somebody, you know. And so that was like 5 or 10x, x being the extract amount potency of the plant itself.
Okay.
You know, so 5 times as potent of the plant itself, 10 times as potent. So, you know, I just kept wanting to get. I wanted it more potent and more potent and more potent. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until I took 80x, and that was my first psychedelic experience of leaving my body.
Okay.
And when I was coming down, I went through this really crazy experience. Went through a lot of like dark and light places during that trip, and you know, like any trip, you can't explain it. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
When I was coming down, so like after you go through your heavy trip, you kind of wave in and out where you're like,
How
in
long
reality,
does it last?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay, so
yeah.
it's not like an hour, 2 hours.
No. So when I was coming down off of that, it was a really heavy come down, and I was going in and out, and I felt like I couldn't escape it. And that was the one and only time I've ever had the contemplation of suicide.
Gotcha.
Because I thought that I was stuck in this place, and that actually definitely has happened to many people on psychedelics when they're coming down, because you lose reality of time, and you think that you're never going to come back.
Right.
So that I haven't smoked it since then, because that just scared the shit out of me, you know what I'm saying? And I think that was my main turning point in going from overusing drugs at one time to regulating and using them, you know, properly. Abusing to using. Yeah, exactly. That was my turning point when, you know, that scared the shit out of me, and I didn't touch anything for a while, you know.
Mushrooms gave that to me from especially when I was doing pretty heavy when I was living in Washington, because the come downs of that just started getting super, super heavy to me. I'm just like contemplating a lot of things, but there is, playing that devil's advocate, or like feeling that like deep despair. I don't know, it's like, I think sometimes like you have to stare death in the face too. So it's like those bad trips, and there's a sense of being uncomfortable that I think like in the world we live in, we want everything to be so comfortable and so easy going. That's like we don't want to subject ourselves to uncomfortable situations or times that we're not. So it's like you also learn a lot though from kind of and that's why I love psychedelics, because I remember like taking acid and just feeling like there's so much more than just this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was raised Catholic, so like I didn't have that I was like heaven, hell, like kind of like scared. I was scared to death of dying, completely fucking scared. And like, and actually, ecstasy was the drug that I think I was like 19 or something. I took it with a couple of my friends, and like I've never like really done drugs and like gone to a party or something like that. It's always just me and a couple of friends walking in the woods or like
hanging
in a room like this, and
just
that's why I love podcasting. It just feels very like being on drugs with people and just talking, because I don't think it's a beautiful thing. But we were walking towards the woods, and I'm just like looking, and I'm like, why am I always so like afraid of death? And like every waking minute I'm afraid of it. I'm like, I'm with my friends right now, like I feel good, I'm in the world, I'm living. And I mean, obviously there's the euphoria of, you know, ecstasy that's like but like I took that lesson, and it's still like that moment, like I even got like a little bit of like goosebumps, because like I remember that like it just hit me so fucking hard at being like, oh, there's like a bigger thing going on. It's not just this fucking like
But being a Debbie Downer.
Right.
Life.
Yeah, it's like there's so much beauty out there, and there's so much life out there, so much energy running through you, and you can like transform that energy into something more peaceful and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
I kind of wanted to take it back, like to the coming down, and then also Burning Man. Speaking that we just, you know, did these 30 days, do you do anything like that after Burning Man to like reacclimate yourself with normal society?
Well, reacclimating yourself in general takes time.
Yeah.
And a month after Burning Man, our local community of burners here all get together and have a decompression gathering, which is a camp out where we go and camp out and share stories from Burning Man, share how, you know, what we've learned from the burn this year.
It's an after party.
I mean, you can party if you want to.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But
Or you can leave your friends behind.
it's not, but it's not like Saguaro Man, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get together, you share stories, you help each other, you know, come back into the default world. But coming back from Burning Man is very, very hard. Because you've been in the desert for a week. You've let go of having to care about time, and now you're realizing that time has to become something again to an extent. Money, just the default world. You know, you've created this community, this world that was successful, that you just lived in. You know what I'm saying? With random people besides your campmates. You know, the other 70,000 people there that you don't know and will never see again. Probably you may see again, but may not. So when you come back here, I remember my first time after Burning Man, driving down my own street. It looked so different.
That's weird.
So different.
Unfamiliar.
Were you wearing the glasses?
No. No glasses.
Maybe that's
completely sober.
Like,
you know, yeah. And I'm like driving down the street, and I'm just like, this is fucking weird. Like, this is not my street. No, this is my street. I've just never realized that tree's there. I never realized that. You know what I'm saying? Because I've become so jaded to driving down my street to I have to get home.
This is my home.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Your GPS and
but that spreads throughout everything back in the default world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You go back to work for your first day, and you're just like, why the fuck am I here?
Right. That's from any vacation you come back that way. But I mean, for something like that, that's like, I mean, could you live that way always? Like, I mean, I see, like, I love cult stuff, like going back to Charles Manson. Like, not saying that Burning Man's a cult in any sense, but I'm actually drawn to that life. I see, like, and I watch these documentaries, like, where it's like these communities, and it's like, you know, they're farming and they're all like helping each other, and it's like, and for me, I'm like, I would love to live in a commune like that, and I could totally see that. But then, like, it always ends up being like some sex thing, or they're like doing something like sex trafficking kids, or like there's always some dark
suicide,
which I don't understand why there is, but I can definitely see myself like in that, being like, I wish life was like this.
So I mean, we do create a temporary city. But, you know, try to live the 10 principles every day back in the default world, and, you know, volunteering with the Burning Man community, and, you know...
Are you allowed to mention these 10?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
It would take me a second to think of all 10 of them off the top of my head. We'll come back to that.
Okay,
but,
no worries.
Like, damn it, Pete, now where was I going?
Homework. I gave you number 11. Is that enough?
You bring that into this... normal world.
Coming back into the normal world. I don't remember where I was going. Besides, it's weird. It's hard. It's you know, people say a lot like yeah, you bring the principles back with you and you keep living life, but that's where we're going. Okay,
let's do it.
I knew it. I saw the gears turning. I knew it was coming.
It was talking about. Okay, now where do we go? No.
Where do we go from here? Is there, like, when you go back to those, like, the re-meetups, are there, like...
Yeah, hit the pen.
Are there, like, people that you wouldn't expect to be, like, at Burning Man, and, like, you come back and you're like, whoa, that's you? He's, like, in a suit, kind of like a little Jacob?
So, actually, one of our regulars at work... I saw at Burning Man, and he goes to Burning Man. Somebody I would not have ever expected, and it's funny because everybody has this stigma of like, oh, it's just a bunch of fucking dirty hippies out in the desert.
Right. Yeah.
Well, there are some dirty hippies out there, but there's anyone and everyone. One of the principles, talking about the principles, is radical inclusion. Anybody is welcome into our community. My first year, I was
Jews.
Yeah, everybody. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah. Even you.
What a world.
Yeah.
They're not wanted anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Looks like there's a wall over there.
Yeah. No, the perimeter fence at Burning Man's only 3 feet high.
Well, still, I might be a little too tall.
It's cake. It's cake.
For an abuela.
But yeah, you see everybody. I mean, lawyers, doctors, dirty hippies.
That's funny.
People you.
I mean, 70,000 people,
Yeah,
I mean.
from around the whole world.
Yeah.
People that have been going for
My
the past
first
30
year.
years.
Yeah. My first year, the youngest person I saw was 6 months old, and the oldest was 88.
That's crazy, yeah.
And in that
Shit.
same week, that's people that I talked to.
How did they turn to a baby to 88 years old?
I know. It's like we said, time doesn't happen while you're there. So
It's this lake, I'm telling you,
like
it's a lake. There's like a power
There's some-
manifesting.
yeah.
It's like going to
That white
Jupiter.
flag.
It's like 40 years here and it's 8 hours
yeah.
there.
That shit blows my mind. I don't
Yeah.
fucking understand
Yeah,
how
yeah.
how time and space works
That's
like that.
space-time continuum.
Can you tell us?
I don't
Space
understand how
communication?
time works here.
Yeah.
Time is only something
But there-
because we've created.
It doesn't really work, exactly. It's
It's
just a number.
man-made,
Yeah, we just
yeah.
made it and said,
It's
oh,
just
this is how it is.
It's an equation that we've made.
Yeah, we're like, okay.
This is yeah.
We're like, cool. So,
Right.
that sounds right.
Live by this.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Sure.
Can I still get an iPhone? Yes, you can get an iPhone.
Fine, yeah.
Can I still watch my YouTubes?
So there's a ton of people at Burning Man. Like
Yeah.
the spectrum of people is crazy. In fact, I was at work and we have this priest, this Catholic priest that comes in, and I was talking to him, and he's like, "Oh, you doing anything?" I was like, "Oh, I just got back from Saguaro, man. You know, got a couple of volunteer things that I'm going to be doing, before Burning Man, but that's about it." Same. He's like, "Oh, Burning Man, you go to Burning Man? That's awesome." Oh no, I didn't even say Burning Man. I said I go to this. I have this.
It's just a
Community
little thing,
gathering that I'm
you know?
in, and he was like, "Oh, well, what is it?" And I was like, "Oh,
Did you
it's
say
called
cactus? Or the cactus?
Well, I had said Saguaro Man or
Saguaro.
whatever, and then we were talking, and he was like, "Well, what is the thing that you're going to?" It was
Yeah.
like this community of artists, and I was like, "Oh, it's called Burning Man." He's like, me thinking, which I try not to put, judge a book by its cover, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? But I
right.
was doing it at that time,
Right.
definitely was doing it, and I
Kitty
was like,
diddler.
yeah. I mean, that wasn't necessarily my first. No, I'm just kidding.
It was a priest,
Yeah.
Catholic.
Mustache or no?
Pedro.
We never
So-
said Mexican.
So I said.
Yeah, right.
So I was like, "Oh, I'm going to this thing called Burning Man," and he knew exactly what it was. He knew all about it. He had never been, and it was just like, that was like, well, fuck. Why did I just judge you
Yeah.
by your cover thinking, because you're this religious person,
Yeah.
And I actually found this this priest that had his daughter brought him to Burning Man, priest or a pastor, whatever, somebody in somewhere in
Some
religion,
dude.
some dude,
Some cult leader.
some dude that puppeteers the other people.
Yeah,
So.
right.
Trump?
Yeah. And he had, I listened to this 30-minute little podcast thing that he had about going, and he had a stigma about Burning Man,
Okay.
It's like, that was me having a stigma of well, this priest isn't going to know what Burning Man is, and then he did. And this
everything.
this priest that went to Burning Man and that I listened to, and he was like, well, I know what this is going to be like, and then he got there and he's like, I was completely wrong.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that I think I've been trying to challenge myself more with that too, of just doing things that you wouldn't necessarily want to do, or or even because you feel like you're going to be uncomfortable or something. It's like really pushing yourself to do something, change your perspective, try something you maybe don't like or aren't
Right.
good at. Then I don't know. I think that really helps with the human psyche quite a bit.
It's also saying putting a stigma, oh, I'm not gonna watch that show, but you haven't really given it a shot,
Right.
Just simple things like that.
Like the Kardashians, it's a great show. Actually.
Yeah,
It's
I don't understand why more people aren't watching that.
they need to be watching more. I think
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
important stuff. It's hard hitting.
Yeah.
So where do you want to go grab a beer after?
That's a good question. I don't know. Who knows?
Are you hungry? I'm kind of
Yeah, I'm definitely hungry.
Jacoby?
Should we? One.
Yeah.
We're at 1:30. Should we?
1:30?
Should we cap it
I don't
off?
know, yeah. Well, how was your week? We didn't have our Sunday meeting before. That's usually when we talk about,
That's true.
kind of gather our thoughts around the
He's been stressed about it ever since.
podcast. Oh, he texts me. He's like, "What the hell? Why aren't you here?"
This is the best part of my Sunday morning.
Yeah. Seriously, though.
This is the masturbating part. It's also fun.
Once a
in the
week
morning.
for
You
you?
only masturbate in the morning on Sunday?
Only. It's very religious.
the
It's
day-
religious. It takes me 2 hours. to get ready.
Oh, yeah.
I put the flowers, next to the mirror, light the Virgin Mary candles.
Oh.
And I wait till it's almost all the way gone. I have to just stare at myself until the candle's gone. Then you go to town.
I know this is random, but the
No, it's not.
Virgin
It's
Mary
right.
candle just made me think what I got at Goodwill one time, which I gifted to one of my friends, Mo. It was it wasn't at Goodwill. It was at a church rummage sale.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we were out Sunday
I love
garage
that.
sailing, and the church was having a rummage sale. All the kids bring in this random shit. They sell it so they can go to church camp or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a pink Jesus statue.
Yes.
Okay. It looked like a dildo, I'm gonna be honest. I saw that's what caught my eye from across the whole church area that they were selling. So I go over there to be like, what the hell? It was a pink Jesus, magic 8-ball.
Oh.
So on the base of the pink Jesus, you shook it up, okay?
Yeah.
And then you flipped it over,
What
and
would
it would
Jesus
say
do?
like, you are a sinner.
Oh, there's all those
shit.
negative things?
Yeah.
Wow.
Anyways, that anytime that I see like one of those Virgin Mary candles, I for some reason always
Go
brings me
back to
that. Like,
that. Sounds awesome.
should I flip the
actually.
candle upside down and see if that
You are a sinner.
Yeah.
You filthy.
This thing needs batteries. Oh shit, this isn't.
Anyways, that was just a random thought because
That's
that.
funny. Man.
Since we're on kind of religion, I'll just use that as a segue because I was going to ask you something earlier when you were talking about the temple and setting things free. Of like, do you have any kind of like? I mean, psychedelics are a lot of association with like higher power, religious. Like, so where do you stand on like the spectrum of like we're floating on this fucking rock and Earth? Like, what is your connection with like?
So I was born and raised into a Christian household, and went to church every Sunday. Did these other church things. Went on the church trips and everything. And then we got to a point where my parents basically were like, "This is our religion, okay? Me and your father. This is our religion.
Mm-hmm.
We've raised you in this religion." But it's your turn to decide if this is also your religion.
Okay.
If you believe this. You understand that we believe it, and you've been brought to believe it because we also believe it, and you congregate with us. But you can choose where you want to go from here.
That's when you choose to like get baptized or not. Right?
And they were
Like when you're old enough.
right. So we were baptized as children into
you
the church. Into the church, baptized as children. You know what I'm saying? But you would get baptized again. A lot of people around 16, 17, 18 when they've decided that they're going to go that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, and my parents were always very like, would share other religions with us as well, in the sense of like, we would watch documentaries about Judaism, about Mormonism, about Buddhism, so they never...
That's very cool.
Yeah, they never...
That's not
very awesome.
Yeah.
They never forced us, you know what I'm saying? It was always like, this is what we believe and why.
Yeah.
And here are other religions that are similar, but this is why we choose this one.
This is the truth, and then this is all. No.
Yeah. This is the truth, and this is the more truth. Like,
Can you believe that these guys are doing this over here?
Yeah.
So
You just don't believe in saints.
You're going to hell.
Yeah,
it's your
right.
fault.
Literally the only difference, right? Between like
I'm like,
Catholics
going to
and-
hell, man. I got VIP parking. Yeah. So it's raised in that, and then they were basically like, it's your choice on if you choose to take this religion or not. You need to figure out your own life. you know?
Yeah.
So floated away from the Christian church.
Christian?
Floated away from the Christians. And
I was like Christian for a little while, and I said, enough of this Christian shit. That guy's got a long beard and hair.
So I floated away from that, and then psychedelics came along, and that is definitely what opened my eye to being to being like, there's more than
Your
what's
butthole?
there's
Like,
more than my butthole. There's a taint right there.
People don't give it enough attention.
Yeah, and
we started this podcast as a taint tickler.
Yeah.
Oh.
For like a PSA of like, come on,
Tickle the
everybody,
taint.
Yeah,
tickle the taint.
taint.
Hashtag.
Do the walkway.
Yeah.
Like pretend like you're a model or something.
Michael Jackson,
Yeah.
that moonwalk.
Moonwalk
that
Moonwalk it. Lick your fingers first, please.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, please.
Yeah, not trying to have a
it's
dry
sweaty,
moonwalk.
unless
Yeah,
it's sweaty.
yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You get a little moisture
Yeah,
already.
you test it as. I feel like you would only trust a person with the taint, that
That's
knows
true.
how to judge that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got into that too much?
No, I think that was good. I don't know.
like that.
Yeah, your third eye opened. That he
Oh
said.
yeah, so that my third eye and my one butthole.
God tickled your
opened.
taint, and then you said, "Okay."
Yeah. The butthole opened and
Opened, and then the rest is history.
yeah, the rest is history.
That
So
was a total new view of life.
so anyways, that took me to like realizing like there's more to what just I'm seeing, you know, and everybody's connected in a way, and there's more to what's just on this planet even.
Yeah.
You know, like there's definitely something out there, and definitely, you know, just when more to the science side of things of well. I definitely believe in there being a higher power, but I also believe in science, you know.
I believe in science.
I believe in the science. So, when I did DMT, in that experience, in that journey, I left this planet and I was able to see that there is more out there, and that everybody, every human being, everything on this planet, trees, humans, animals, we are all connected. There is an energy connection blanketed between everybody.
Avatar,
the
bro.
stars are a fucking map. There are, you know what I'm saying? And in that experience, I met this woman who I would maybe say would be considered a goddess, you know, a god. It's this beautiful woman.
Did she identify as a woman first?
I didn't ask her.
What's her pronoun? You know?
We're good.
I don't know. I didn't ask her. Yeah. So she seemed to be a woman.
One could assume.
Yeah.
Can you say that?
Safely?
It's not gonna-
No, you can't. You can't.
All right. So I saw God. Okay. And God was beautiful
This figure.
and had the characteristics of
Godlike.
yeah,
Who knows?
a female. Yeah. And anyway, she was like, basically like, you've come to this point and you've realized that you can leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, you realizing basically that there's more out there. And she was like, I was like walking down this yellow brick road toward her. Basically, it was just her giant, beautiful, colorful face, and she's like,
He was
"Are
watching
you?
The Wizard
Are
of
you?
Oz.
Yeah." And it wasn't actually a yellow brick road. It's just like that's what the feeling was. You know what I'm saying? Like this pathway.
There's this tin man.
Was there a
yeah,
tin man and a
yeah,
lion?
and a lion. Yeah.
Need oil.
It was kind of
This-
freaky.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. So like I'm coming toward her and she's like, you know, like, well, do you want to leave this planet? Do you want to go to the other side?
Mhm.
Like, are you ready to come to another side? You know? And I was like, wasn't ready. And then I kept following her, and she was speaking with me, you know, and I was just realizing more and more like this was the greater being saying like there's more out there than just what you are seeing or feeling. You're now seeing more and understanding it, you know. And there is something that's higher that has created you to be able to be functioning as human beings, which are fucked up creatures.
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, if you're ready to come over, then come over. And that's when I took what felt to be my last breath, and I took a big breath in, and I let the breath out, and like we're very labored breathing, and I'm just like take off into this dimension, leaving Earth, watching Earth go behind me, and being like, here I go, I'm leaving, you know. And then basically something brought me back, kind of like the feeling of like, wait, no, I understand that there's more out here, and when I die, I will be going somewhere else, not heaven or hell, but to another,
Right.
you know,
Something.
And I want to remain on Earth because I need to be there for the people that are there right now. It's my time to be on this planet, and I can now realize that when I die and if my soul leaves this planet, to another dimension, then that's fine. But right now I'm on Earth. So I took a breath and came back.
Holy shit.
And I know I just got goosebumps.
I know, dude. I just got goosebumps too. I was just watching you.
And within this time of my DMT trip, like I had completely blasted off and left. I had the experience of astral projection of being outside of my body and looking down into the room of me on the bed before leaving the room, traveling the earth, and then eventually kept layering until I made the goddess until I was leaving. and then having the option to leave, being okay with leaving, taking my what was expected, how I felt it to be my last breath on earth, and going on, and then realizing it's not time, and then taking that breath and coming back and being back in the bedroom. I was by myself. My friends, had left the room so that I could be in my own, experience. And so that's when I came back on the bed, and shortly after that, and I'm just like laying there and kind of still waving a little bit in and out, and then I was able to talk again, and I was just like, wow. And then they came back in the room realizing he's back into a place where we're not gonna, interfere with his experience, So, and then still, there, when I was still sitting there, now able to communicate, see them, there's the roof and the walls were just this rainbow kaleidoscopic mandala, just absolute fucking beauty. And me looking at the wall and being like, these walls are so beautiful. This roof is so beautiful. These people in front of me are so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And I know that when I leave these people, when that time's right, that I'll be going to somewhere else that's beautiful as well. There's something more out there. So now that's kind of just where
the craziest
taking it back to like, being raised religious, veering away, going through the psychedelics, you know what I'm saying? And then that particular psychedelic experience was like, even the extra, affirmation of don't be scared of death. I had passed that just like you a long time ago. Like I'm not scared of that anymore, know. But this particular experience was like, absolutely don't be scared of death, because there's going to be something different for you.
It's like we're all just kind of trapped like in these skin suits, like we're like just passengers.
It's just a vessel.
Exactly. And then like, I think when I started kind of noticing that and learning that, and that's like I said, this is a recent discovery of like now kind of reflecting on like psychedelics. I'm like, oh, that's what I took away from there. It's like I wasn't far enough away from it to actually properly look back on it and like see how it shaped me or changed me. But being like, there's power in the unknown of like, you feel an energy, there's something running through us. We don't know what it is, but it's beautiful that we don't know what it is. Like, because our imaginations we don't even understand like what's inside of our brains, or like what can be possible. The fact that we're three sitting here and talking is fucking impossible. Like, it's all fucking crazy. And I think the more and more you can remind yourself that, like, you can kind of walk through life, and like I said, like meeting you, being lifted and feeling like it's almost like you're gliding in a way, right? I mean, like when I'm tuned in and I'm working out, I'm eating good, I'm taking care of myself, like I feel light. I'm just like floating.
You're just floating along.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's
just
like
riding the wave. The wave comes from behind and it just pushes you.
Yeah. Right.
Just like when you're actually surfing, it just pushes you. You just ride the wave.
Yeah, and you just admire everything around you. Like you're saying, when you're driving home and you're noticing these trees, and you notice the beauty and you take everything in.
Because now you know.
So now you know.
And if you don't know, now you know. Pedro.
Trigger words.
How's it going? Should we wrap this up?
Yeah, I'm hungry, man, honestly.
Food.
Hey, Jacob, thanks for coming on, man.
Thanks.
This was fun. I think we should do it again sometime.
Definitely.
Maybe after Burning Moon.
Yeah. After I come back from Burning Man, and if I come back.
Baby, come back.